doesn't try to he doesn't just try to say, hey, if you're going to be beautiful, you need to look like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
He looks at a widow who comes into the temple and gives 2 pennies, and he says that's beautiful. Like, he points to these things that don't
Yeah.
seem to be beautiful and says they're beautiful, and then it all becomes one whole thing when we see Jesus. Now
Yeah.
then you go to the next crazy thing. You see the apostles in the book of Acts. They all of a sudden they're acting like Jesus. They're not resurrected. Like, they're not in this resurrected form, but they're doing these beautiful things, um, that capture the world. So Jesus captures the hearts of the disciples, and the disciples capture the heart of the world because they're exuding this beauty to the world of what it looks like to be living in the kingdom of heaven. And it does not look beautiful to the subjective eye. I mean, the problem with beauty
Yeah.
today is my understanding of beauty has been completely twisted by my own desires, my own selfish desires.
Yeah.
When Jesus gets a hold of me, he resets my compass for what beauty is. And all of a sudden, I start
hmm
seeing things that are beautiful. So you go back to Isaiah 53, and then you don't just
Yeah.
read verses 1 through 3, you start reading through how he suffered, or how he's going to suffer, and then how he suffers later. And it's just, oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Every Good Friday, I read Isaiah 53 to our church. And we all look back on that and we go, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
We
But
look
it didn't
back
start off that
on
way.
the crucifixion as beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me think that the real Jesus, there's beauty behind uh, the flesh, and that beauty leaks out. Like treasure in clay vessels. It
Oh
leaks
yeah,
out from
that's a
time
really
to
good one.
time, and then at some point the clay jar smashes, and all you see is the radiance and the beauty on the inside as new creation uh, can leak out. That's really really good. Um, Last question for you. Tell me something beautiful that you saw this week.
I saw my daughter get baptized. I mean, that would be just the most obvious one. Yeah, but I'll kind of uh, I'll encapsulate this last week for me. Um, so my uncle, my dad's only brother, committed suicide last week. So I'm working out in my yard Tuesday afternoon, get a phone call from my dad, and he says, "Hey, your Uncle Doug just tried to commit suicide." And then, so my folks, they fly out to Oregon to be at the hospital, and my uncle had left his body probably on the beach where where the EMTs found him, but his body was still breathing for a few days, and his body gave out, I think, on Friday night. So there's that, and that's ugly. But the whole time we're planning for my daughter's baptism this last Sunday, and my wife Crystal looks at me and through this whole thing, and she said, "Isn't this just the kingdom? Like, where death and life, the kingdom and earth, flesh and spirit just seem to collide, and in the midst of pain there's beauty, and in the midst of suffering there is good happening." And I have to wrestle with all of that. Like, I can't just
Mhm.
my life, all I want is beauty. Like, if I really get to it, it's like I
Yeah.
want to be in shape and look really good. I want to live in a nice house that's well manicured. I want my children to be healthy and successful. Like, I want all of these things. even I could even spiritualize it, say, I want my life to be spiritually beautiful. But it's not. Like there's brokenness that confronts this pursuit of beauty all the time. And that's where like Jesus is resurrected, and yet he still bears the scars. So like I don't get to just like, who am I then, right? It's the same thing as when Jesus is sitting there and this woman is anointing his feet, and he says, she's done a beautiful thing for me. She's anointed my body for burial. Beautiful thing. I'm gonna die. Like, like how do you being a disciple, how do you square those two things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm learning. You asked me what something beautiful that I saw this week. I guess I'm learning. I got to pray for my dad this week on the phone. It was beautiful. I was praying for him because his brother had just committed suicide.
Yeah.
But it was powerful. I don't get to pray for my dad that often.
Usually it's the other way around.
Usually it's the other way around. But I got to pray for my dad this week because he was suffering. And I feel like that kind of sums up what it looks like to be looking for beauty and seeing beautiful things in the kingdom. As a follower of Jesus, I'm just endlessly going around trying to be a witness to beauty in a world that desperately desires to justify ugliness as beautiful, but is really deeply seeking what true beauty is.